Hey everyone, it's Jack, and today I'm going to take a look at Fedora Sway. Fedora Sway is the latest, newest addition to the Spins family, and I'm going to take a look at it. I've been looking around, and I haven't really found much in the way of videos related to Fedora Sway, and to me it looks really kind of interesting. Sway is the Wayland version of the i3 window manager. So Sway is the compositing window manager equivalent. I guess you might call it the Wayland equivalent. So let's take a look at this. I'm out at the website right now, and this is the Fedora main website. And so what I want to do is I want to actually go down to the Spins and take a look at the Spin section. And this was just recently added as a Fedora Spin not too long ago. I think probably within the past month or two. And so if we go to our Spins page and scroll down, and of course I'll have the link in the description below, but here at the bottom we got Sway, and so if we click on that, this will take us over here to our Spins page for Sway, and we got the download button. They also have an immutable version called Saracea, I think it is. I don't have any idea whether I pronounced that right, but we're going to go ahead and just download the normal ISO, and then I'll be right back. We'll load it in. Okay, and here we are at the live screen. We're booting in here. And this will bring us into the live image. And I believe the live image is going to have the Sway desktop as well. So let's find out. So here we are. We're in the live environment. And I see that we got our Waybar up there. I'm assuming that's Waybar. And so we got our install instructions. So I'm just going to get right to it. Looks like all we got to do is bring up our D menu. And now we're in our Fedora installer. So I'm going to scooch out of the way a little bit. We have 3 items that need attention here. That's why they're in red. And so first of all, we're going to do our drive selection. It's already checked. So that's good. And I'm going to scooch out of the way here. And so since that's already checked, all we got to do is hit done. And then it's asking to reclaim space. So this is because the drive already has data on it. And so you're likely to get that. So all we got to do is hit reclaim space. And then this is showing the partitions that are already on this drive. So I'm just going to hit reclaim all and then reclaim space. And that's all there is to it. We're good to go. And now I'm just going to enable our root account. And I think I'm good with that. So we'll just give it a password here. You can also allow root SSH login if you think you might need it. Typically, you probably don't unless you're going to remote in or something. Under user creation, now we're going to create our main user, which would be Toadwake. And then we'll give our main user a password. And I'm going to leave the others checked here. Require a password and add administrative privileges. And so I'm going to hit done. And then we'll go and begin installation. And that's all there is to it. Easy peasy. So I'm going to let it do its thing, and then when it's done installing, I'll be right back. So I'll pause the video. And it looks like we got a little harmless error message up there, something about SE Linux security, something, no big deal. Okay, now I'm done. And so I'm just going to go ahead and finish the installation. And the install didn't take that long, so we'll do that right now. And here we are at the boot screen. It looks like everything went fine. So there's our Fedora Sway, and I'm liking that. So that tells me that nothing blew up, at least that I can tell. And here's our login screen, so excellent. I'm just going to go ahead and log in here. And so we'll just do that, get that out of the way. And then we should see a similar desktop, I think. And there it is. So we have our Waybar up there on top and our cloud background. Looks like our volume control's at about 47%. So now we can do stuff. And so I just hit super enter. And so that brought up my terminal. So that is kind of a thing that I expected. And then it looks like super shift Q closed it. Now I just hit super D, brought up our D menu and typed in Thunar. So opening up our file menu. And so I suspected Thunar was going to be in there. I'm going to go into my config folder and there should be a Sway, nothing. Okay. So it looks like we need to copy our Sway folder over if we want to put it in our config folder. So let's look at etc Sway, and there it is. So that's where the Sway folder is. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to sudo copy cp -uppercase R, then a space, and then /etc/Sway, then space, and now a // which represents our home folder, and then .config / and then we'll enter in our password, and that copied it in. So now there's our Sway folder appeared in our config folder. So now we got all the contents in there because I did a -R. That means recursive, so that copies all the folders and everything in there, all the subfolders. So that's cool. And it doesn't look like we have a an editor, so a GUI one anyway. So I'm going to do a sudo dnf in, which is short for install, gedit. Let's do gedit. That's a pretty good GUI editor. And we'll let that install, and that shouldn't take long. And after that, we'll take a look at our config file here. And I'll just hit yes there. As you can see, no is the default because it's Fedora. That's kind of backwards from the other distros. So I'll probably fix that a little later. But first of all, I want to look at bring the Waybar folder over too. And that's an etc/xdg/Waybar, and you can see the contents. So again, I'm going to do sudo cp-r and then the path /etc/xdg/Waybar. And then I'm going to copy that to our home folder .config folder. And now we have our Waybar folder. Nice. So now we got those both copied over because I want to modify both. So now I'm going to do a sudo etc/dnf, actually sudo vim, because I want to edit this dnf conf file. So etc/dnf/dnf.conf. That was the wrong place. Actually, I think it's sudo dnf. Let's install vim. That's the problem. Okay, because I like to have a console editor, and I did commit myself to Vim, so for a while. Okay, now let's do that again. There we are. All right, so we are in our DNF conf file, and so I'm going to add some things in here. So I'm just going to arrow down here to the bottom line, and then insert mode, and we're going to put in max parallel downloads. It's all one word, equals, let's make it 6. So that'll give us 6 threads of download at the same time. Then we're going to do fastest mirror. And this is kind of optional. One could argue whether this is faster or not because it has to check for a fastest mirror. So you can leave that out if you don't want to use it. And then default yes equals true. So fastest mirror and default yes are both true. And then this way, when we do an install on something, it's going to default to yes instead of no. And then I'm just going to WQ out of there and save it. So that'll do that. And then I'll just do a quick update here just to kind of refresh everything in the config file there. So I'll just do a sudo dnf dup. What am I doing? Sudo dnf update. I got a little OpenSUSE on the brain there, I think. So we'll go enter on that because now you can see yes is the default when it prompts you if it's okay. So it looks like our config loaded just fine. So that takes care of the update. Let's jump over into our Sway folder. And let's take a look at our config file. And here you can see this is a copy of the default config that was in the etc folder. And we can just widen that up. So these are all the good things that we can edit. And I'm going to go in here and then bring up my D menu, Super D. And I want to open up Firefox real quick. And in Firefox, I want to install RPMFusion because that's like one of the first things I like to do when I install Fedora. So I'm going to go out here to the RPMFusion website here, rpmfusion.org, and click on this Enable RPMFusion on your system link. And then scroll down here, and I'm going to select the RPMFusion non-free for 38, and also the RPMFusion free for Fedora 38, which is probably the biggest one. Well, let's start with the non-free. I'm going to just click that. And now we have both the non-free and actually I ended with the non-free, not started. So now I got them both downloaded to my download folder. So if I go back over to Workspace 1, jump onto Toadwake Downloads, here we go. We got both our RPM files. So now I can open it with, it looks like there's no default application. So I'm going to have to pop over here again, and I'm going to need to expand this. And let's do a sudo dnf install dnf-dragora. And that'll let us open up our package manager. It's also open our RPM package. It's also a great package manager. And so we'll let that do its thing. I'll hit enter. We'll download this guy, and then we'll be able to install RPMFusion. And that'll give us a lot more flexibility here. So, by the way, I made the terminal full screen with Super F. That's the keystroke there. And so I just double-clicked on that, opened in dnf-dragora, authenticated, and then do the same thing to the other. We'll open that up. So this way we can get them both installed. And just going to do the same thing, kind of a rinse and repeat here. And authenticate again. And okay. And there we go. All done. Done deal. And so now it's reloading the packages. And we can go ahead and close this window just like that. I don't think I installed this, so I'm going to do that one again. I don't remember if I installed it. I don't think it installed. So yeah, there we go. Okay, so that should take care of both RPMFusions, close out, and then there's our clock and our calendar. That looks nice. I'm going to modify that clock too so it shows more than just the time because that looks kind of dull. And if I go in my config, we got Sway, and then we got config D and all that good stuff. And here's our terminal. Our terminal is foot, it looks like. I'm going to just magnify that a bit here. And then I'm going to do a sudo chown toadwick. Because I realized something when I opened it before. Actually, chown-r, because I want to change owner to the whole folder and the subfolders. .config/sway. So what I'm doing is I'm changing ownership to toadwick because I kind of screwed up when I copied it over from the etc folder. And I'm going to do the same thing for Wayland. I use sudo, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have just copied it over without sudo because that made the folder a root folder. So I had to change the ownership back to toadwick, my user. So yeah, when you copy it over, don't use sudo. So now if I close that and then look at this one too, on both of them, you can see now that the save button is highlighted before it wasn't because it was read only. So now we're good. This is more like it. So now we have the correct privileges. Excellent. So I'm going to scroll down here, and first of all, I'm going to reformat the clock. So I'm going to put in a format parameter here. So a quote, format, quote, and then a colon, and then we're going to do a quote, and then a couple brackets. And inside the bracket, I'm going to type in %A, %D, and %B, then a space. And then we want to do, that's our date. And then for our, let's see, for our time, we want to have %H, capital H, colon, %M, colon, for minutes. And we could even do a %S for seconds. If you don't want the seconds, just leave that part out. And then end quote it, give it an end bracket, and then a quote, and then a comma. And I think that's going to work. So I save it, Control S, and then Super Shift R will reload it. And there we go. So we got the clock formatted. So that looks better. I kind of like that, having the date there. It looks a little better, less boring. So what else can we do to this config Waybar? Let me jump back here. Let's go into Firefox because I think I want to get the weather app. So I'm going to go in here. There's a weather script, and I really like it for Waybar. So I'm going to type in wttrbar. It's called weatherbar or wttrbar. And here it's got the GitHub link here to the page. So I'm going to just click on that, and that should take me out to the site. We can download the script. Actually, I think it's an executable. Here's a link that goes directly to the weatherbar, wttrbar. So I'm going to hit that, and here we go. This is kind of what I'm looking for. So I'm hitting on latest, and then I'm just going to download the zip file here, and we'll get that wttrbar. And what we'll do is we'll make a scripts folder in our .config Waybar, and we'll stick the contents of this in that scripts folder. So we got that downloaded, and so next I'm going to open up Thunar, just right in here, that way it's handy. And I'm going to go into our downloads, and then I'm just going to double click on that. Oh, we don't have an archiver either. Geez, this is really bare bones, you know what? So I'm going to go as sudo dnf install, and let's do grandpa, I guess. That's the first one that comes to mind. And then I'll just authenticate. We'll install that. More installing. I guess that's a good thing. Depends on how you look at it, I guess. And then once this is installed, we'll double click on it again. So go in here, and that should open it up. There we go. And so I'm going to take this wttrbar and drag it right into this config folder right here under .config and Waybar. And first we'll create a folder, and we'll call it scripts. So we'll put that in there, and that's where we'll keep our script here for the weather bar. Actually, that's an executable, but I'll just drag it in. And of course, it's not going. Yeah, that's one thing about Wayland. Wayland is not good when it comes to drag and drop in a lot of cases. Not every case, but this is apparently one of them. So I'm going to extract that manually, and then I'm just going to go and navigate over to my .config. And first I got to right click here and show hidden files. We'll check that box, and then go into our config, navigate over to Waybar, and then our scripts folder. And then we'll hit extract, which is right behind me. I was in the way, but I couldn't get all the way quick enough. Okay, so you get the picture. Now our wttrbar application is in our scripts folder. That's great. So now when we modify our Waybar config, we can just point to that executable there and launch our weather bar. So that'll be kind of fun. So we'll close out of that and close that and go back to desk workspace 1. And first of all, let's go up near the top here. And we have our modules right section here. And you can see all the things in the modules right are corresponding to what you see in the right-hand side of your Waybar. And so the first thing in this area is MPD player. That's the thing with the little eyeball with a slash through it because it's turned off right now. So just before that, I want to put in our weather bar. So I'm going to type in wttrbar, and that's going to be surrounded by quotes and separated with a comma. So this will be the first thing on the right-hand side of our Waybar. Cool. So that's going to designate the position of that module. And now we're going to come down here and let's just find a spot to stick it in. It's not really critical where it is, but just to kind of stay oriented, let's put it right down near the end here above custom media. And I guess we'll just go with the same name there. So we'll go to wttrbar. I think you have to anyway. Put it in quotes, and then we'll, forgot the colon. Put a colon there, and now a bracket, left bracket, and then close it with a right bracket. And so now in the middle, and put a comma there too. Don't want to forget the comma. Okay, now we're going to go up here, and now we're going to add our parameters. So I'm just going to tab over and start with quote tooltip, unquote, and then colon, space, and then we'll make that true. So we're going to have that show tooltips, and then comma. Next line, in quotes again, we're going to type in format, all lowercase, end quote, colon, and space. Now let's do 2 brackets and a comma. That'll be our format. And the next one is interval. So this one again, same thing, in quotes with a colon. And we'll make that 20 minutes. So it'll check every 20 minutes there for the temperature and so forth. And then in here, in quotes, we'll put in exec. This is where we're going to execute our script. So again, in quotes and colon. And then we're going to put in the path as ~.config/waybar/scripts, our scripts folder, and then wttrbar, which is our executable that we uploaded. And now we're going to put in some parameters here. So $Fahrenheit is the first one. And I'm not sure if I'm spelling Fahrenheit right, but I think I did. So Fahrenheit, that's going to denote the temperature reading in Fahrenheit. And then we're going to put in our location, and let's put our location in here, Niceville, and then finally, _ This one is going to be our main indicator. So we'll put in indicator, actually main indicator. So I got to go back to the beginning, and let's make that main - indicator. And so again, we got to denote Fahrenheit. So that way, when we hover over it, everything will be in Fahrenheit. So we'll go temp _ and then uppercase F. So that denotes Fahrenheit, and then comma. Finally, return type, in quotes, then colon. And the return type is going to be JSON. So in quotes, we're going to type in JSON, end quote. And let's see, I think format has to be quoted too. So we're going to quote those 2 brackets there. And I think I got everything here. Let's see. Got our exact path. That looks good, I think. So let's give that a try. And then we'll reload our config here, Super Shift R, and I don't see anything. Yep. Okay, I messed something up. Let me take a look here closer. I think the path has to be in quotes. So let me enclose that. There we go. So we close that in quotes, and then again, save, and then Super Shift R to reload, and we got our bar back. Yay! But no weather bar. So it's still not working. What did I do wrong? So I better take a quick closer look here. Our path looks okay. Oh, I think I remember reading in the documentation that you would put that as custom/weather. I remember seeing that in the example. So let's change that, custom/weather. I don't know if that's important or has anything to do with it, but it probably does. So let's do the same thing down here so they match. So let's go back here. Okay, I changed that to custom/weather, and everything else seems to look okay. So now everything is crazy. All the other things disappeared, and I got a whole bunch of instances of our weather. Yuck. Okay, so I still messed something up. Okay, tooltip is back to true. Return type. Okay, there's a space there. That should be an or a hyphen. So we got return -type, and try that. There we go. Okay, so now after reloading, now it's working properly. All right. So that was kind of messed up on my part. So I guess that was the problem there. Is return type was screwed up there. All right, so that's looking good. We got our weather thingy there. I like having that weather widget. That's one thing I think is really cool with the Wayland-based window managers is their cool WTTR weather widget for Waybar. So now let's go into Sway and look at the config in here. And let's mess around with that and see if we can't get Sway just a little bit cooler. So if we go in here and we look at our config file, we can see all our default stuff. And I think maybe the first thing I'll do is I just open up my terminal here, and our terminal is foot, and it's got pretty small fonts. And so maybe I'll just use Kitty. I kind of like Kitty. Let's do a sudo dnf install Kitty. And we'll go yes with this. I know I'm not giving foot a chance, but this will serve a dual purpose. I can get Kitty and I can show you how to change your terminal. So if we go in here in our Sway config, and then down here you see recommends your preferred terminal emulator and set term foot. So we're going to change foot to Kitty and then save it and then reload, Super Shift R. And after that, if I close out my terminal, which is Super Shift Q, and then do Super Enter, now Kitty opens instead of foot. So we can see that worked. And I'm just going to magnify that a bit again. So now we change our terminal to Kitty, and that's how you do that. Pretty simple. And what should we do next? I know. Sway message -t. I want to get, and then get underscore inputs. And I want to get the identifier for my keyboard because I want to activate the Numlock. So when I start up, the Numlock is activated because by default there's no Numlock. I'm just going to grab my input device and then hit Control-Shift-C to copy that. And then over here, I'm going to just add it in down in here and just Control-V and paste that in. And then a space, and then we're going to follow that with XKB hyphen, actually it's underscore, Numlock enabled. And that'll enable our Numlock. So I'm going to Control-S, and when I reload it, it says it don't like it. Oh, unknown command. Let's put an input. I forgot to put input, so I guess that would help. Okay, and then I'm just going to add a comment here, enable Numlock, just so I remember what this is for. And we'll just fill that in with a hashtag there. Okay, so we'll save that, reload it, Control Super Shift R, and I guess it would help if I just did the identifier instead. What a bonehead. I put in the wrong thing. You need to put in the identifier, not the device name. No wonder it didn't work. Okay, Control-S, and then reload, Super Shift R, and that's better. It reloaded, and I have Numlock. So that will enable the old Numlock. That's kind of how you do that. Now I'm going to do a DNF search GNOME, a GTK theme, I mean. So I want to put in a GTK theme and make this a dark theme because it's really kind of light, and it's too light for my taste. So here we got like a sweet GTK theme, and so this says it's both a light and a dark available here. So I think I might go with that, the sweet GTK. That looks pretty good. So I just did a Control-Shift-C to copy that. And so sudo DNF install, and then the sweet GTK theme, authenticate, and then we'll hit enter here to install that. And then we can call to this theme in our config file so we don't have all that blinding whiteness. And there we go, all complete. Nice. So now if we come back to our config file, what we want to do is just kind of scroll down here, make some more space. And then I'm going to do a little comment here, and I'm just going to write in load a dark theme. And the first thing we want to do is we want to set our $GNOME-schema, and then that would be org.gnome.desktop.interface. And so that's going to tell us that we're going to be calling to the desktop interface here, and we're going to be doing stuff with it. So let's hit enter, and now exec always, and then we'll put the opening bracket and closing bracket, and then we'll just kind of tab over, and let's do G settings, set, and then again we'll do our, actually it's $GNOME-schema, and now we're going to do GTK-themes, or theme, singular, and then we're going to paste in the sweet GTK theme that I copied from the terminal earlier. And so now it should actually load that sweet GTK theme and make it dark. So I'm going to save it, reload, and it didn't like it. Of course it didn't like it. How come? So invalid command G settings. How can that be invalid? Must be something before G settings. Let's see. Okay, exec always. Exec always. That's why. All right. No space. It's got to be an underscore. So I don't know why I've been doing that with spaces lately. Let's save that and then reload, Super Shift R, and it still doesn't like it. Now what? Unknown command exec always? Okay, that doesn't make sense. It's spelled right. Okay, let's put a space between always and the bracket. See what that does. Let's see, set GNOME schemas. That all looks okay. So, all right, let's reload it and see what happens. So I'm going to go up there, hit reload, restart Sway. Still, I think it has something to do with that theme name. So I think what I'm going to do is, I know a way to get the exact right theme name that we need to use, because apparently that sweet GTK theme is not the right name that it's looking for. So let's go back into our terminal, and I'm going to do a sudo DNF LX appearance, and we'll just download that. That way we can have a visual look at our stuff. And so password, hit enter, and enter again for yes, and we'll download LX appearance and take a look at our stuff. All right, so now with our super D, let's type in LX appearance. And there we are. Nice. So now we can see our themes, and definitely I have the name wrong. I can see that right off the bat. So there's our Sweet Mars. I'm kind of liking that. And then the other ones are light themes. So let's hit this one, Sweet Nova. I like that. I kind of like the purple in there in different colors. That's cool. Let's go with Sweet Nova. hit apply. Actually, that's not going to do anything, but we want to add that Sweet Nova here. So instead, we're going to overwrite the Sweet GTK theme and call it Sweet Nova instead. We'll save that, reload, Super Shift R, and nothing. Oh, Sweet is uppercase. So I think it's case sensitive. So let me make that uppercase, Sweet Nova, save it, reload, Super Shift R, and it worked. Wow, nice. Okay, so now we're in the dark theme. Nice. So I'm going to go up here and change my preferences here on my Gedit so we can use a different color scheme that's more compatible. Let's go to fonts and colors, and probably going to go with Cobalt up there, but let's see what these other ones look like real quick. Solarized, dark. Yeah, Cobalt I think is going to be my choice here. So I'm going to close that, and now it's all looking good. That's kind of what I'm liking to see here is our dark theme. That's way more comfortable, not so blinding. And then here we got our icon themes, and we can see we got a few icons in here like candy icons, breeze dark, and so forth. So if I wanted to change my icon theme, usually I just download those from a website, but let's see if I can just name that candy icons there. So I'm going to click back up here at our G settings line, and I'm just going to hit enter, and then we're going to type in again G settings space set, and then again $ GNOME schemas, and I think it's called GTK hyphen icons maybe. I'm not sure about that. And then in single quotes I'm going to type in that candy icons, and it looks like they're both uppercase, and actually that should be something else, not GTK icons. That should actually be icon theme. I think that's correct. And let's hit save, and we still got the same icon. Let me reload. Yeah, it didn't work. Maybe it's hyphen icons. Try that. Save, reload, nothing. Okay, well, I think I'll try just a couple other combinations here. Make that lowercase icons, nothing, lowercase candy, nothing, yep, nothing. Okay, so we're kind of going about this the wrong way. I'm going to go to my desktop too. I'm going to close that, and then let's open up Thunar again, and then let's see, just try one more thing here. And nothing. Okay, wasting too much time. Jump out of there. And I closed Thunar by mistake. So let's go over to desktop 2, Super 2, and then I'm going to open up Firefox. And so I'm going to bring up my D menu, Super D, and type in Firefox. We'll open that up, and we're going to go out to a website, Numlock.org, and we'll let that load in, and we'll grab an icon theme right from here. That would make a lot more sense. So there's full icon theme, so I'm going to click that, and then let's sort this by rating. So I'm going to go up here, hit rating, and see what they got. Something like there it is, New Way to Reborn. That's kind of what I had in mind. I think that's a good one to use, and it kind of works with everything, even OBS Studio. So let's download that. I'm going to go over here and hit the download button, and we'll grab a zip file. And let's find a good color here. I like the deep purple. I think that could be a winner right there. So I'm going to select that and download it. And then I'm just going to open this folder up right here. And let's double click on it and extract that. And we're going to extract that into our .icons folder. I'm going to just hit the extract button there. Then we'll navigate over to our home folder .icons. So let's go over here, and there's our .icons folder, and we're going to just hit that extract button and just extract it right in. So that copied everything over there, and I'm just going to copy the dark version because that's all I'm really interested in. So now we got our dark version in here. So now all I have to do is I'm going to hit rename here, and that'll just kind of give me a prompt, and now I can just copy all this. So I'm going to copy that, hit cancel. Then we're going to copy that name right into our config file. So we're going to overwrite this candy icons here and just paste in what we copied. And so now it's New Way to Reborn. So I'm going to save that and then reload it, Super Shift R, and we got them. So now we got our icons changed. So that's really the right way to do it. I was kind of screwing around there for nothing. Sorry. So now we got our purple icons. That's looking better. So this is really starting to look like a civilized desktop now that we got it tweaked here. And so now I think another thing I want to do is, let me think here. Let's scroll down here a bit, and let's add in some key bindings here that are a little more comfortable, at least for me. So first of all, I'm just going to do an entry here and make a comment, launch Firefox. So I want to have an easy way to launch Firefox. So I'm going to type in bindsim and then $mod, which is our super key, plus B, and then exec Firefox. So that's going to execute Firefox when I hit super B. And let's put that in workspace 2, because I want that to open up in workspace 2. and there's a semicolon that goes after 2. So workspace 2 semicolon and then exec Firefox. And of course I did something wrong. Why? Why, Jack? Oh, okay. It looks like on line 163 here, there's a duplicate for that key binding. So something else is using that mod B, but I want to use it for this. So I'm going to go down to 163 and change it to something else. And let's see what that is. Okay, so that's looks like it's the split vertical and split horizontal. So for horizontal, instead of B, let's just make it something random letter like G. I guess I could have done super shift B, I guess, but yeah, let's just do G. Save it and then reload. Kind of fix that. So now let's see if it actually works. So I'm gonna go here and I'm just gonna close Firefox because I want to see if it opens on its own and goes into workspace 2. So I'm gonna close everything out of there, go back to workspace 1, and then hit super B. And it did. It took me automatically out to workspace 2, and there is Firefox. So that's working perfect. It opened up in the correct workspace. So I like that. So we got our browser taken care of. I think that's cool and groovy. And let's do another. So let me do a search here real quick for mod plus G or Q. Actually, it's mod shift Q, because to quit an application, you got to press mod shift Q. I'd rather just press Q. So here it is. This is kind of an easy way to find that line. So I'm going to take shift out of there. So it's just mod plus Q, and then that'll kill the window. Easier, I don't have to mess with 3 keys, and we'll save that, reload. So now if I come over here to Thunar, click on it, and then press super Q, it closed it right away. So that's more comfortable for me. I kind of prefer doing that without the shift. Now let's do one for Thunar. Now that I closed it, let's add a key binding for Thunar. So again, I'm going to put a comment in here with a hashtag open Thunar, and then we'll do bind sim space mod plus T. We'll assign it to T. Exec Thunar. And it doesn't matter what window it opens in or workspace. So that one went without any errors when I reloaded. And it worked. So super T opened up Thunar just like that. Excellent. So that's better. Those are kind of my essentials that I would want to have easy access to. And that's a lot better. And we got our weather widget working, dark theme. Everything's really coming together. Now we just got to think of another level to pimp it to. I know. Another thing I'd like to do, one thing that kind of bugs me is the sway lock. It goes into lock screen like after 5 minutes. And to me, that's a little too short. So let me do an ls/user/share/sway/config.d. And there should be, there it is, 90-bar comp. That's the magic file we want to get here is 90-bar comp. And we want to copy that over to our .config, or I mean the Swayidle comp, not 90-bar comp, the 90 Swayidle comp. And so I just Control-Shift-C that to copy it. So now I'm going to do copy/usr/share/sway/conf config.d/ and then I'll paste that back in there, that 90 Swayidle comp. And we're going to copy that to our home folder, /.config/sway. And let me just go back over here, config D. Yeah, that's where we want it to go. So /config.d. Hit enter, and there we go. So now we got our 90 swaylock.conf in here. And you can see that it belongs to Toadwig. It's correct ownership now because I did not use sudo like I did the first time. Nice. That's how you're supposed to copy it. So let me double click on that and open this up. And so this has our settings here for our sway lock, our lock screen. And as you can see by default, it'll lock after 300 seconds. That's 5 minutes. So I'm going to make that a lot longer. And then here we got 60 seconds. That's like a grace period before it actually goes into screen lock. So let's change this 300 to 3600. That's about an hour. And to me, that's a little more palatable. If you want to disable the screen lock altogether, you can just comment all that out and then that'll disable it. So excellent. That'll change that to an hour. I think that's good. And just save it, reload, Super Shift R, no errors popping up. So that's how you adjust your sway lock. In case you're curious, that file was hidden there. We just had to bring it over to our comp D. And so problem solved with a sway lock, if that bugs you, like it bugged me. All right, now let's do a background. So let me first of all do a sudo dnf swaybg. I want to see if swaybg is installed here because I want to change our background. The one that's in there is kind of dull. So dnf install, and Let's hit enter, and it's already installed. Cool, so we don't have to worry about that. Oh, it's probably already in the config, in fact. There should be something here, like pointing to our background image. And if I look here, yeah, here we go. So we got output right here. So yeah, BG for background, and then we got our path to our image. So this default PNG, that's what we're seeing in our background there on our workspaces. So let's get our own image there and stick it in so we can make it a little more interesting. And I think what I'll do to do that is I'll just go out to Firefox, and just to kind of make it really simple, I'm just going to load in Google Images. So let's do images.google.com, and then I'll just do a search for like desktop wallpaper, and then here we got 1920 by 1080. It was reading my mind. Wow, I like that one right off the bat. I think I'm gonna go with this one. So let's check that. Excellent. I'm just gonna right click and do a save image as, and let's just save that directly to our pictures folder, just for simplicity's sake. So if I go back here and then go into Thunar, navigate over to pictures, and there's our picture. So I'm just gonna go back here, hit rename, and just copy that real quick. That's a pretty simple name. A lot of those Google Images things are a mile long, but that one was actually simple. Then I'm going to change our path here. I'm going to just overwrite all that and just change it to / for our home, then pictures with an uppercase P, and then paste in our file name, hit save, reload, Super Shift R, and now we should have a background. Let's do a Super 3, and it is. Nice. So now we're on workspace 3 so we can see the background. And wow, that looks so cool. I love that. I'm going to add that to my collection. That was like a totally chance find there. But I'm liking it. Very cool. So I think I did everything I can think of to do this. And I got to tell you, I really like this Fedora Sway. It looks really nice. It's had all the basics all set up for me, and the Waybar was set really nice. And it was actually easy to work with the config. So I am really liking this. I haven't really messed with Sway, so this is kind of new to me. In fact, the only Wayland window manager I worked with before this was Hyperlin, which I think is really cool. I like Hyperlin. I think with Hyperlin, one thing I like better with Hyperlin is you got universal keybindings, which I think is cool. And what I mean by that, I could be using the wrong word, but what I mean by that is, like in OBS Studio, I can pause and unpause my video from a different workspace using universal key bindings, and you can't do that in Sway. So that's the only downside that I can see, is that you can't do that. But if you don't really have a need for that, then I guess it's not a big deal. But for OBS Studio, that kind of makes life a lot harder when you can't pause and unpause from another workspace. But other than that, this Sway is really great. It's real easy to work with. I can resize windows even with my mouse. I think that is super fantastic. And, just like i3, it's just got a very easy config to work with. Waybar is great. It just integrates seamlessly with Sway. And of course, with Waybar, you got the weather indicator. I love that. So I just really can't think of anything negative to say about it. This is something that, to me, looks absolutely usable. So the first generation, whatever you want to call it, of the Fedora Sway Spin, I think is a real success, at least in my opinion, and it seems very stable. I didn't have anything crash on me. The install was seamless, and for setting up a window manager to get yourself a desktop environment, or technically it's a Wayland compositing manager, to build a desktop, is really quite pre-built. And so I had to do a bit of tweaking to get it looking the way I wanted it to. There was really nothing in there prefab that I could just uncomment for like a dark theme. That would be kind of cool if they just kind of had something pre-configured in there where you could comment and uncomment. But then again, that might take away some of the learning experience. And I think kind of learning your way around this stuff is half of it. And so I kind of like the fact that it is the way that it is. And besides that, it gave me more to talk about. And with that, I'm rambling too much. So I hope this was all helpful. And if you want to give Sway a try and just kind of modify it, and if you're new to Sway, maybe this video will help guide you into getting it off to a nice, pimped out start and a useful start. So with that, I hope you found this video enjoyable. And if you did, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and hit subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.